Well, good morning, everyone. I want to welcome you to fantastic Bellworks, vision of Ralph Zucker, the Inspired team, Somerset Development. I want to thank our hosts for having us here. I want to thank Ming Chen from Shared Universe Podcast. Podcast of the pros, Ming Chen. No question, that's where you turn to. My name is Terrence Wall. On behalf of the Monmouth Regional Chamber of Commerce, I want to introduce you and welcome you to the Monmouth Regional Chamber of Commerce Chambercast for November. Now remember, today is Giving Tuesday. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. But today is Giving Tuesday, so pick your favorite nonprofit, and we have fantastic nonprofits that are right in this room or beyond, and support them, or remember to support them. You know, Giving Tuesday is also about giving many different things, including information. And this meeting is only going to be able to capture a portion of the incredible information from a financial powerhouse that's here today. We have brilliance in our own backyards. Whichever town you're in, you have brilliance in your own backyards. And I'm so thrilled that Hilary Kramer is with us today to share key, usable, actionable information for every generation in this room. So thank you so much for being here, Hilary. Appreciate it. So I'm going to give a short bio because I couldn't capture all of the different elements from a book writer, bestseller, podcast, TV host on Bloomberg, and all these different fantastic background items from Hilary. So I'm going to read a few, and then what we're going to do, we're going to go around the room, and we have a great crowd and a big crowd. So if you can briefly say, you know, who you are and your company, that would be wonderful, because we're going to be talking about money today. We're going to be talking about finances. We're going to be talking about things that you can use right now. You know, as my dad, Ed Wall, who I love so very much, who's no longer with us, would say, well, Terrence, you know, money can't buy you happiness, but it sure lets you pick your misery. So welcome. Hilary Kramer is an investment analyst and portfolio manager with 30 years of experience in Wall Street. Financial Times describes her as a one-woman financial investment powerhouse, and The Economist distinguishes her as one of the best-known investors in America. Often quoted in publications such as the Wall Street Journal, New York Post, Bloomberg, and Reuters. She's a frequent guest commentator on CNBC, CBS, Fox News, and Bloomberg, providing investment insight and economic analysis. She was an analyst and investment banker at Morgan Stanley and Lehman Brothers, and founded and ran Long Short Hedge Fund, and has been chief investment officer overseeing debt and equity portfolios. Since 2010, Ms. Kramer's financial publications have grown and grown, including 43,000 subscribers. She's a certified fraud examiner, also testified as an expert in investment suitability, risk management, compliance, executive compensation, and corporate governance. You may be, towards the end of the podcast, we're going to open it up for questions. So you can think now, what are the key questions that you think are really useful to you, your family, and also the people around you? Because this podcast is for all of you, your family, your companies, and your friends and family. Hilary received MBA from Wharton School at the University of Pennsylvania and her BA with honors from Wellesley College. Provided testimony regarding investment policy at the United States Senate and is a frequent speaker on the markets, portfolio management, securities fraud, and compliance. She is the author of Ahead of the Curve, that's Simon & Schuster 2007, the little book of Big Profits from Small Stocks, Wiley 2012, and Game Changer Investing, How to Profit from Tomorrow's Billion-Dollar Trends, which is a Wall Street Journal and USA Today bestseller. Folks, big round of applause for Hilary Kramer. You know, so we're going to go around the room and say hello to the folks that are here. Jeannie, if you can get that started, we'd appreciate that. And let us know who you are.
Hi, everyone. I'm Joe Campy from King Financial Network. I'm a certified financial planner.
Welcome.
Hi, everyone. I'm Saran Jennings from New York Life, and I help families plan for their financial future. So I hope to learn a lot today.
Morning, everybody. I'm Connor. I'm a senior at Monmouth University, and I'm a marketing communication specialist at the Monmouth Chamber.
Morning, everyone. My name is Brianna Rizzi. I'm the administrative specialist here at the Chamber.
Morning, gang. Mark Vigiani. I help people achieve their goals. I'm a local realtor with Keller Williams in Homedale.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for coming. I'm Therese Rolke, the executive director of this incredible chamber. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Therese.
Morning, everyone. My name is Dorothea. I am the owner of Zando Financial, a full-service, female-owned financial planning firm, and I'm also the co-founder of the Victor Zando Foundation. Since it's Giving Tuesday, I figured I'd throw that in there.
Good morning. I'm Bonnie Preston. I'm a certified insurance counselor with Conover Buyer Insurance. I'm a commercial insurance broker.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Howard Stein. I'm the owner-operator of Home Helpers. When your aging loved one needs a little bit of help, give me a call. We can help you out. Thanks so much.
Hello, I'm Sterling Noka, Vice President of Business Development for First Atlantic Federal Credit Union.
Good morning, Christine Schmoker with Adventure Golf and Entertainment. And since it's Giving Tuesday, I will tell you we are a perfect venue to raise money for your nonprofit and to celebrate the holidays.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
That is a great venue. I was at a party there 2 weeks ago. So. Brian with ServPro from Carpets to Catastrophes. We can help your office or your home like it never happened. So.
He said that if the podcast doesn't go well, he's going to make it like it never happened. So work with me.
Hi, everybody. My name is Paul Thurston. I'm a owner of T Marketing, and I am specializing in personalized websites and company websites right now, or general marketing services. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Natalie Dietz. I'm a CPA, and I'm currently looking for some part-time work.
Hi, my name is Dr. Serini. I'm a retired chiropractor. I love the market, and I'm here because I'm a big fan of Hilary Kramer.
Woohoo! I'm Gary Gelman, Gelman Images, photography, video production, drone. It's Giving Tuesday. I have 4 daughters. If you can give me any money you got, I need it. Thank you.
That's a good one.
Hi, I'm Elena Wharton. I'm a senior at Monmouth University, and I'm a freelance writer at Tap Into.
Welcome.
Hi, I'm Kevin Asbell with Insperity. We help small and mid-sized businesses with HR services, pretty much everything you need to run your business.
Buongiorno, I am Chris Satoli from Cali's Pest Services. I'm the head of marketing, and sorry, although they are pesty, we don't take care of in-laws.
Good morning, everyone. Jared Logan, founder of Go for Hire Career Services and Hiring. For Giving Tuesday, we give people great resumes, help them get prepared for the jobs or colleges they're going to. We also do staffing and hiring for anybody looking for a job or companies looking for great qualified staff to bring in. So good to meet everyone.
Hello everyone. Good morning. My name is Shweta Shah. I work for Rainbow Secure as a client manager, and we help businesses to protect from the cyber attacks. Thank you.
Welcome.
Hello everyone. I am Nihal Mehta, president and co-founder of Rainbow Secure, where we help a business to protect from cyber attack like phishing, bots, ransomware. We help to secure their website, email, and their platform. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Ava. I'm a senior at Homedale High School, and I'm planning on studying finance in college.
Good morning. I'm Elliot Cohen, a business teacher and internship coordinator at Homedale High School. If anybody's out there looking to have high school students as interns at your business, please definitely reach out.
Hi, I'm Jamie. I'm a senior at Homedale High School, and I'm here to learn more about the business world.
Good morning. My name is Chris Fenimore. I'm currently a student at Georgian Core University and an intern at Go for Hire.
Good morning. I'm Ryan Daltrick. I'm a senior at Georgia Core University. I'm also an intern at Go for Hire.
Hi. Al Aloisi, your independent insurance advisor as life insurance, health, and annuities. And I'm also certified for Medicare Advantage plans. Anybody turning 65 or qualifying right now, enrollment period is now, ends December 7. So Al Aloisi, also a tennis pro.
A lot of things, and Al was on the keys when you came in, playing the piano.
That's right.
So thank you.
Pianist to the stars. Oh, thank you as always, Al.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Joe Raddick, also known as Joe the Business Broker. I help small to medium-sized businesses sell their business or plan to exit their business.
Good morning, Gregory Calderero, managing partner at Colts Neck Financial. Big fan of talent, big fan of Hilary's. Wonderful to be here.
Welcome.
Hi, my name is Joe Massaro. I'm from JM Investments, and I'm here to listen.
Welcome.
Good morning, everyone. My name's Angela Ashley. I'm with Affirmed Home Care, and I'm excited to listen to Hilary also.
Hello, my name is Shana Yarrick. I'm with a company called Veteran Care Services. We do veteran benefit planning for seniors to help them pay for any kind of daily living assistance. Thank you.
Good morning, Chris Damari, owner of Bridge Technology Partners. We provide talent acquisition services and specialize in companies looking to hire that next technical leader. Thank you.
Did we miss anybody?
You.
Me. I'm Jeannie Wall, and I'm the owner of Hometown News LLC, publishing Tap Into for Homedale, Cold Snack, Middletown, Hazlitt, Keyport, and I'm also the co-founder of this program with my husband, Terrence, Chambercast. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. Give yourselves a round of applause. We mentioned it was Giving Tuesday, and I just want to share that we're dedicating this podcast to NYPD Lieutenant Timothy Coyne, who gave it all, 9/11, who worked to save lives, and the world sadly lost him 2 years ago, and that is Hilary's husband, our hero, our national hero, Timothy Coyne, who gave back, and that's what this world should be about, is giving back, because we're all part of the human condition and the journey that we're all on. We have triumph, we have tragedy in our worlds, and if we're fortunate that we haven't seen tragedy, we've seen it near us, and we're very fortunate if that's the case. But all of us have our experiences and how we weave them all together. So we just want to thank you so much for being here, your strength, your resilience, your really, the movie Marvels, the reason it doesn't do too well in the box office, it was miscast, right? Right, you should have been on that movie. So, but Hilary, thank you. Where do we even start off? Like, it's like if we went to post pandemic, it's kind of like where we were, where we are, and where we're going. That would be fantastic to capture that today. But what are the folks thinking about today with 8% interest rates? You mentioned the 0.1 versus even the 1% are affected. 30% credit cards. The student loans having to be repaid now. The debt's piling up for many, not all, but many. How do you navigate that? What do you see today? And then we're going to start talking about your expertise about stocks and what to look for and things like that later on this podcast.
Terrence, thank you so much. And thank you all for being here. It's really exciting to be here at Bell Works, which will always be Bell Labs to me and to many of you, but to see that it has a new beginning, to see that there's transformation. And if I can give anyone a message today, it is the message of transformation, and just sitting here is proof of it. The beauty of November 2023 is that the internet, technology, all that we have gives us second chances and third chances and opportunities to reinvent. And I am not going to candy coat the world we're living in right now, and we need to look at that straight in the eye in order to think about what's next and what's tomorrow. But what's tomorrow is very exciting, and it's exciting because, again, the opportunities are out there. Even if you want to just look at the concept of the podcast, social media, YouTube channels. I used the example earlier of Katie Couric. NBC, someone in 30 Rock decided that we should love Katie Couric, that she should be our hero. And maybe for many she is, was, always will be. But we were given one person. That's it. It had to be Katie Couric. Today, there are thousands, hundreds, thousands of us. And we can be out there, and we can have a message, and we can find followers, and we can find those who we relate to and relate to us and give a helping hand, make life better. Many of you are in wealth management, you have your own businesses, you tap into the resources of whatever infrastructure you have paired up with. That's incredible. You didn't have those kinds of options 25 years ago. And it's that which gives us hope, which gives us solace, and which gives us tomorrow.
So Hilary, some folks are questioning, are we in the worst of times? Are we in the best of times? What's the answer to that question that is on?
It's like Charles Dickens said, we're in the best of times, we're in the worst of times, we're in both, really. So again, it's how we look at it. So, but to to talk about the worst of times part. I think that the issue there is the lack of loyalty. That corporations, that big businesses have shown. I think that is something that is a significant problem. Corporate governance, for example, board of directors not taking their jobs and their roles seriously, selling out their companies for cheap because they get $100,000 check, so they sell to private equity, which can buy a company cheap and then turn it around a few years, strip it down, turn it around, send it back for an initial public offering, and people sell themselves for cheap these days. And I'd love to see that change, and hopefully the internet and the fact that social media, although with lots of noise, it gives us that opportunity to see through that. But if we want to talk worst of times, our biggest problem, really our immediate biggest problem, is debt. It's what we're seeing when we open up at the end of the month, our email and our statements are ready for us, or our bills come in. That is something we have to talk about and we have to face, because just like free money made it a big, huge party, the fact that now interest rates are high, it is going to make it a very difficult time going forward. Even when the Federal Reserve starts slashing rates, there's a residual of interest rates, of mortgage rates still being high, of those credit card companies are not going to be so fast. They're going to find ways to keep the credit card debt high. So that is something that we need to face head on, but we can do it, but we need to be mindful of it. And part of it, many of you are students, you have young children, you have adult children, and that's something else I'd love to talk about, is the heavy weight that so many people bear today because of that.
And maybe a segue to there is, in the different generations, is a certain sector that's really, really important in Homedale and beyond Homedale, but it's the real estate sector, right? We're the folks that are in the real estate, the sales side, the mortgage side, or they're going through life transitions and deciding what to do. What are some of the things that you're seeing in that sector, and from the stock standpoint, perhaps it's Lennar, Toll Brothers. Are you seeing something in particular stocks that folks may want to look at as well?
Well, stocks, that's my specialty. We all have to have a passion. Like I always say, I stopped working. I have never worked a day since my 30th birthday. And I haven't, because I do what I love. And what I love is the stock market. And I love the stock market because it's made up of individual companies that have tapped into the public markets or are tapping into the public markets to grow, expand, develop. I love that. I love finding those companies that we can buy into, that we can become shareholders in, and we can ride the wave. And we can ride with them, and we can ride our way to wealth. Those stories we hear, there was another one this past weekend about a man, I believe in Vermont, who died and left $3 million, but lived poorly. Everyone thought he was sort of the poor guy in the town, and he left $3 million to the town. That has to do with investing and finding companies you believe in and going for it. We need to believe in ourselves, and we need the guidance of others at the same time.
Let's talk about another sector that you're right, in game changer investing. You talk about profiting from tomorrow's billion-dollar trends. A lot of folks are trying to wrestle down the crypto world, trying to wrestle down AI, whether it's in their own companies that's creating efficiencies, or in education. We're looking at that on the Board of Education, for example. How are we looking at the efficiencies as a tool rather than a problem? But there are companies that are working in AI. Can you speak to some of the stocks in the AI space or the crypto space, and some whether you're a professional seasoned investor or giving advice to other clients, or you're just family that is trying to decide where to carve out your investable income? Where do you go? Where do you start?
Well, if we want to look, Terrence, at artificial intelligence, AI, it's it's really everywhere, and it's not just NVIDIA. NVIDIA is a magnificent company that has artificial intelligence and really came to fame because their chips are bought by the car companies that are looking for assisted driving and driverless cars. NVIDIA, which is used by the gaming and graphic software companies, that those chips are amazing in there. But there's other kinds of AI out there. There's an Israeli company. I just bought recently a company called Oddity. ODD is the ticker symbol. So Oddity is like a Sephora, like an Ulta, really, and using artificial intelligence, using AI to figure out what to name their cosmetics, what cosmetics are needed, what cosmetics are in demand, and then using AI to kind of beat the competition to it. So their famous brand is Spoiled Children. So even there, coming up with the right names and understanding what names people want. So that's an example. There's another one that has been out there, bouncing around for a while, Palantir. Palantir Technologies. Palantir has done AI for decades now, a Peter Thiel company. And Palantir, the stock hasn't been able to get traction because Palantir can't say who their clients are, because their clients are governments and the clandestine part of governments. But Palantir has the technology and has first mover advantage in using AI to pinpoint issues, problems, political issues. And AI is definitely here to stay. What is fascinating is that I was at a meeting of a private equity fund that had about 75 portfolio companies in attendance. I was one of the keynote speakers to talk about the markets. And those 75 CEOs were all told by management, if you don't have an AI plan, you better have one in 15 minutes from now. And that was the message that they were given at this conference, because again, it was a conference to inform them of the world, but also what they needed to be doing in their business. And these businesses spanned everything from energy to education. So AI is here to stay. Whether AI is really going to destroy us, I mean, we keep hearing these buzzwords, it will destroy us, it will destroy us, but no one really knows how will AI destroy us. And one of the ways that I see a problem in AI, which so many others don't, and I call it the garbage in, garbage out problem. So you have companies out there. Let's take a new company out there that is taking the pharmacies in the hospitals and making them completely robotic. Okay, so taking out any danger of human error, taking out the danger of theft, improve security. Well, it doesn't matter how great these computers are and this robotic system is if the doctor writes the wrong prescription. And when you take out the human element, where a nurse can say, or a doctor, I'm saying a nurse or a resident can say, wait a second, wait, this doesn't seem right, what you're taking. This is a statin, or, this is a, this isn't the kind of, this isn't an antibiotic, right? These are really the issues. So the problem is more the human error in AI, the programming error in AI that we have got to be thinking about, because it's the least common denominator. It gets pushed down. There's so many interesting things to think about, but I think if you want to talk about how the world has changed the most, besides the obvious ways that we all walk around with our iPhones, and the ways it has worked, and again, I've already touched on it, private equity, right? It's the middleman. What we have to understand is that quality has been stripped down, that the ability for people to do the job they need to do and have the time to do it has been taken away from them, that an entire industry has grown over the period of 30 years where it's all about, I have to use the example of Leon Black, who used to be the CEO of Apollo, one of the largest, it's a public private equity company. who took over Hertz and said, Hertz, you now have to give me a check for $3 billion. You guys want to keep your job? CEO and CFO, you want to keep your job? Go borrow $3 billion and give it to me as a present for my acquiring you. And the world stood by. And all of the car companies that paid the price, and all of the employees, and all of the users, all of the renters of cars. So I think, again, there's this obviousness. I'm not talking about what's obvious, but the subtleties of how the world has changed that we really have to be thinking about.
And speaking about the world changing, some folks have you have to analyze so many different things. You may end up just staying in place, not making changes, not getting involved, and that kind of thing. Many years ago, with my Series 7 and some of the broker dealers at the Squawk Box, and it's up, it's down, and I'm told the market's emotional. I'm like, what? Yeah, emotional. So we went from emotions, right, to an inanimate item that was emotional. That's why it's going up and down. And you're supposed to give advice based on these emotions. But now it's emerging, and I want to talk about your comments that we were just discussing about IPOs, about algorithms. And to the extent that algorithms are fundamental now than many, many years ago, how does the beginning investor or student investor or the pro, like I remember the Wall Street dartboard. Anybody remember the Wall Street dartboard and how well it did?
You remember that?
Yeah, the editors, they threw.
Right.
You want to describe it?
How
good it was?
Right. So it was this this test of who really are the experts really so good, and there were 3 test groups, one of which were some Playboy Playmates of the Year. There were also some monkeys. And both groups were asked to throw darts at at stocks that were on news. They put the newspapers up on the board, and the monkeys threw, the Playboy models threw, and guess what? The third group, which were not throwing darts but picking stocks, the stockbrokers, came in dead last. Did I describe it right?
Yeah. So so things are changing, right? So, and that's why it makes it difficult. So then you may not even get involved in the stock market. So, because part of what folks are going to leave today is empowered with information or additional information if they already have some, to say, you know what, I really wasn't thinking about this. Like for the folks who haven't been investing, are the waters calm? Where do they begin? Maybe that might be a good place to share some information for those that may be very, very successful, but perhaps are in one silo.
Right. Well, the rule of thumb I always say is never be concentrated in one stock. Never be concentrated in one specific asset class. Every once in a while you hear about a billionaire who did it and it worked, but you don't hear about, like, look, the dead don't talk, okay? So, or the losers don't talk. So you hear about the ones that went big time concentration in one, but when you concentrate, when you decide that this is the stock that's going to make you $1 billion, it just never will. There will be something that will happen. It is the law of nature. You have to be careful and spread your investments out and never kind of bet it all on 18 red. It doesn't work.
Yeah. And what would you say the main sectors are? So folks are saying, you know what, I am like heavy into pharmaceuticals, for example. Where are the areas or sectors that folks should be looking at where there's money to be made?
Okay, there's always money to be made on the banks. And the banks have been the worst performers this year because the banks have credit issues, right? They have cracks in the credit quality of their loan portfolios. There's no doubt about that. But the banks aren't going to fail. They never will fail. The banks, most of their loans that they give out, they sell them to large endowments, foundations, insurance company portfolios. The banks are going to do fine. You can never go wrong staying close to the money. If you're not going to work at a bank, at least invest in one. You're going to make money investing in Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, that's getting a new, Gorman is leaving. They're going to get a new CEO. He was great, but there's going to be even more money to be made. So Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan, you have Jamie Dimon, the CEO there. They know what they're doing. The banks make the money. Just think about what they borrow at and then what they loan out for. And again, the bad loans, it's not their problem. It becomes the problem of, unfortunately, the person who has a teacher's pension fund, for example, which is kind of what, that's really what's become so sad, is that ratio between what the CEO makes and what the employee makes out there today. So remember, too big to fail continues and will continue ongoing. The bank won't hesitate to take over your $750,000 house. The bank will take that away from you. They won't take away a Park Avenue office building. They will renegotiate the debt on it. And who owns that debt? That's why I just said. It's Dallas Police and Fire Pension Fund, right? It's Illinois teachers. It's the endowments. It's all of that is why so many of us have to be prepared for pensions to shrink, for pensions to go away because of that imbalance that's taking place right now. But there's an answer. Okay, so Terrence, you had a question. What are the different assets? Where are the different areas? I got caught up and went off on a tangent on the banks. But now healthcare, we're looking at the numbers. Year to date, the healthcare stocks are down 3.7%. I think that we are due for a comeback in healthcare, right? There was this reaction we had, the Regenerons, Modernas, Pfizers that did well during COVID. Those stocks have fallen back, and but we are finally at the most exciting time where immunotherapy, it should have been 20 years ago. It should have been. But immunotherapy is finally working. And I think probably, and I hope all of you, I certainly do, have stories of those that I know that had a death sentence of 12 to 18 months and 7 years later are still living because they're on immunotherapy. So that is amazing. It's amazing, and we're going to get there. Now, again, who are we up against? We're up against companies like Siemens that sells the equipment, right? Everyone has to have radiation chemotherapy. We're up against big business. Immunotherapy companies that are startups, they're out there. We have to hope that our governments do the right thing and give the money to the NIH, which can give the money to the research labs. I think that it's going to happen. I think we're going to get there.
Let's talk about government for a minute. What are the government impacts on, they're massive, obviously, but what are the government impacts that you see on policy, politics, small p and otherwise, of the markets and how they move back and forth? And can you dovetail that with another sector that folks are involved with, which is green tech, green energy? I think you founded, you're the trailblazer in, right? Yes. In hedge fund.
I founded the first green hedge fund, I say in the country, but as far as I'm concerned, I think it's the world, but for sure in this country. April 2006. Green tech. I believed that it was a train that had already left the station. And now it has...
Ahead of its time, really, right?
Right. Now it's getting political. Oh, and it has been for a few years now. It's politicized. That's what's really a shame in all of this. And there's this whole cottage industry out there of the big consulting firms that try to figure out ways that investment houses, investment portfolios can invest in green technology, clean technology, ESG, social suitability, governance, and they can find ways to invest in what they want to invest. So in many ways, it's become an industry up unto itself. But the clean tech, there is some value there, and there is value also on the governance side of things, and how. And as part of governance, part of the S and the G in environment, social, and governance, let's look at a company like Subaru. In 2008, 2009, when the car companies, except for Ford, were basically bankrupt, and the big U.S. government had to come and save them, Subaru had record earnings those years, 2008 and 2009. It's because they take care of their customers. They invest in their cars. They invest in their technology. They invest in their safety. And I have to assume, without having done the deep dive research, that the corporate governance is driving that. So ultimately, the cream does rise to the surface. We just have to be careful of what I call the noise out there. And that's the noise of the bought social media today, right? Social media, I'm so sorry. Social media, oh, let me turn that off. Social media did so much good for us. It had changed and transformed everything. But now it's become a tool that's used for fighting and for people to pick their fights. And I think we are getting over that hump and hopefully very soon going back to what social media was supposed to be and is, which is transparency, which is bringing out the truth. So the people have fought back. I want to say, when you want to look at social media, you know, it's anyone who wants to be negative about social media, I just want to tell you a story. So on September 11th, 2001, my husband was in the 1st Precinct. He had been there for 5 years. 1st Precinct is the one the blue door across from the Ghostbusters firehouse right outside of the Holland Tunnel, takes care of the World Trade Center area. My husband, he was assigned to create a morgue and to be the head of body bagging. And he lost his life by working around the clock, day after day after day, with a saw. I don't mean to be horrid, but it's true, with a saw, taking those bodies, sawing them off when they were found by the steel workers or the firemen, and putting them in bags and bagging them and taking them to his Brooks Brothers morgue and waiting until someone could come down and get those body parts. He desperately needed medical examiners to come and help him. He needed experts, ESU, emergency service units from all over the world to come in and give him a hand. It was the Wild West. Had we had social media, had we had a Facebook, he could have had people help him from all over the world. It could have been an opportunity for medical examiners in training to come in and have the trauma training that they needed, that they needed for future terrorist acts, but not just that. How horrible that we didn't have it. And if today, when something happens, we can all answer the call and we can come together, and we've seen where that works. So we went from no social media to social media being a tool of politics and bought. And now, as I said, this is the beauty. We're on that other side where individuals and people aren't buying it.
Thank you for sharing that powerful story of your hero, our hero, your husband. Those traumatic events continue on to this day, and hopefully people are learning from them, and sadly, there are folks and organizations who are not. And so we talk about triumph and tragedy. Let's briefly talk about triumph, because recently you had an incredibly delicate, dangerous, frightening situation. If you wouldn't mind sharing with the folks here, that's incredibly timely in our world today. If you would share. Yeah.
So our oldest daughter, so she was entering her junior year in high school in New York when her father died. He died officially of COPD, asbestos-induced COPD, emphysema. His lungs gave way, and so it was hard to get it all together, to get everything and all the college applications in, and it was even harder because her school didn't support her applications for college, because there was a concern that when she would get to campus, she would back the blue. And her high school wanted nothing to do with any ramifications back on her. Yes, she wore her sweatshirt that had her Celtic cross and her father's name and a memory and his memory on this sweatshirt. That didn't mean that she didn't believe that everybody had a voice, but her school didn't want to give her a chance, and they did everything to make sure that the colleges didn't take her and they got her to a college that would be far away and that wouldn't have any ramifications. At her high school, 38% of every graduate of her high school in the past 5 years has gone to Yale or Harvard. 38% documented. You can look up the Brearley School. So I said, take a year. Why don't you reapply? She graduated in June. Her school didn't like it. They were like, no, go out to the Midwest to this school we got you into. And I said, no, take a year, do community service, study international relations, go to college this summer at London School of Economics with graduate students and college students. And then Shia came to me and she said, I'm gonna go to London School of Economics, and then I'm gonna go back to Republic of Georgia, and I'm gonna help those Ukrainian children that I helped last summer, and teaching them chess and working with them because they're in this holding pattern with nowhere to go, no sight of their own homelands. And then she said, and I want to go to Israel. I hear there are programs there in Israel. And I know I have no knowledge of being Jewish because she was raised definitely a hybrid Jewish Catholic model. I was just going to say her father was always afraid of nuns, but and I was always afraid of rabbis, and so she kind of jumped between these two fears. But she went to Israel to a program that she found, and Shia was celebrating the end of a holiday, and it was the Sabbath, Friday night. She went to sleep, woke up in the middle of the night to having sirens go off, needing to go into a bomb shelter, and the administrators of her program, she was doing a really community service for an NGO, international NGO, that was her job, they were all called up to their bases. So suddenly, in her building, there were 35, 18, 19, 20-year-olds from all over the world that had been, most of them very sheltered, knew not where to go or what to do. And all they knew was there were sirens and there were guns outside, and that they couldn't trust anyone because IDF uniforms and IDF vehicles had been stolen or painted over, camouflaged to be IDF when it was terrorists. And she found herself stuck in Israel in a bomb shelter and took it upon herself. She's a hero. She took it upon herself. It was actually documented in videos, helping everyone breathe, calm down, taking care of them, dealing with parents, getting her peers packed up, leaving Israel. Parents were working on the outside, everything, armored cars to Riyadh, Jordan, onto secret planes that if you had enough money, you could get out of Israel by going across the border. All sorts of ways she helped them. And then all of a sudden, when there were only a handful left and it was time for her to leave, there was no more exit points to get out of Israel. There were no more flights. Everything had been canceled. The politics had gotten away. So Royal or Jordanian, all of these airlines were no longer flying. The American flights were all canceled because the unions had said, you are not flying. We are not flying. No flight attendant, no pilot's going to fly in and out of Tel Aviv. So Shia had no way out. And the stores were closed, and it was just nothing but in and out of the bomb shelters. And of course, it wasn't a building that had a bomb. The bomb shelter was actually the stairwell. And that was really scary. And ultimately, Shia ended up with she sent me a video. I said, I want to see what it's really like. And she said, I shouldn't, but she went out on her balcony. You could hear the gunshots. You could hear the bombs going off. You could hear the missiles. You could hear the Iron Dome catching missiles, fragments flying. Buildings were destroyed. And she did like a 90-second video showing me everything. And I ended up sending it to ABC local news. And from that one broadcast, it's amazing what the internet, how people can find you. She ended up on the news, all the news stations, NBC, ABC, CBS, and she was giving reports, but then she was also stuck. And ultimately, Fox News, Martha McCallum, her crew called and asked for her information, and by going on TV and saying, I need to get out of here, help me get out of here, she was able to get out, but also it prompted our government, our State Department, to realize that there were tens of thousands of Americans stuck in Israel. And so one voice can change a life, lives, thousands of lives. Royal Caribbean was hired to go back and forth from Tel Aviv, from Haifa to Cyprus, back and forth, just putting Americans on, getting them out. And I'm proud of her, but I'm also proud of the fact that the utilization of internet, social media, messaging is so powerful and can do so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that story. And I saw that yesterday, and welcome home to Shaya, and we wish for peace and love to all the innocents. It's so important. And it ties to, though, the fact that you have to run your businesses every day, every week. You need to manage families, children, other different things that are happening in your world. So we're in a little while, in a few minutes, we're going to open up to your questions. So start thinking about what specific question. Maybe it's a stock, maybe it's a bond, maybe it's puts and calls, maybe any number of different things, or maybe something else. But that the intersection of running a business, and the different newsletters that your company is putting out, how do you dovetail that? Like, we all have our stories, we all have our how things are juxtaposed on each other. Do you compartmentalize that? How do you make it keep going? And then as we get back into the specific talent that you have on stocks, I know some folks are going to want to hear what are 3 or 4 or 5 stocks I should be looking at right now.
Oh, I love that. That's my favorite
to buy,
part.
and what are 3 or 4 or 5 stocks that I need to run away from or think twice about in whatever sector? Could be green, could be banking, real estate, pharmaceuticals, etc. Can you speak to how you put it?
Let me share those first. Can I do that? Because that's what I do. So many people really don't know the personal me. I think
make some millionaires today.
I really
or double it.
I'm very grateful to Jeannie Wall, who it's now, what is it? It was a year ago, July, put out an article on me in the Community Magazine, and we were able to, I was very I really kept my life private. I kept it private. I kept it compartmentalized. And so, just so you know, I'm very narrow-minded. It's really about stocks. And but as I said, that's my bliss, and that's why I told you I haven't worked since I've been 30. I want to tell you all about Deckers, DECK. You ready? It's Uggs and it's Hokas. Hokas. So I spent the day at Bloomberg on the Sunday of the New York City Marathon, because I started with Daybreak Australia, then went on to Daybreak Asia. So I toggle between TV and radio. And what I saw was more Hokas on people's feet than I couldn't believe it. I had bought them, and I had known that people were buying them because they give you about 3 inches of lift, and they're comfortable, and they're great for running. And but I saw them everywhere. So I started doing some work on Deckers. Great company to buy. It was about, I don't know where it is right now, but it was about $300 on that day. And I watched it very quickly. Where is Deckers right now for anyone who has their, let me see. Now it's $655. I said it's going to hit 600. It's going to break out to 600. This was on Marathon Sunday. So only 3 weeks later, we're at 655. Okay, so now percentage-wise, we're talking around 10%, right? We're not talking about a double or a triple. But what I want everyone to know is that we think that we're going to be rich from these stocks. Be so careful. Be so careful. There are people sitting, now we know the stocks that become frauds, but you also have to think about there are stocks that just languish. They can languish for 20 or 30 years. I have a stock, I've done fine, Bristol Myers. I bought it at 23 in 1998. I think it was about 23. It had a nice 6% dividend yield. It's in the 50s right now. That's nothing. That's no return. Had I bought on Central Park West the same amount of money in 1998, I'd be sitting on a $5 million probably a $10 million condo. Okay, so be careful thinking that the answer is all in stocks. It's and in specific stocks, and be careful of thinking that there are safety stocks. I speak on these Forbes cruises where there are these 12-day cruises, and I took a chart out. I spoke, let's say, I think it was 2011. We'll go back on 2013. Take a chart where I had said these are the 10 stocks that everyone should buy, and I had them from riskiest to least risky. Came back, the returns were incredible. I mean, in 18 months, there was about a 500% return if you had evenly gone into each one. The stock that I said was the safest had performed the worst. But then again, you could also invest in the one that's riskiest and do the worst. And that's why, again, I keep going back to, I'm going to keep saying the word, don't be concentrated. You know, it sounds like a broken record, but it's important. Before going on, I just also want to, yes, I want to also bring up, there are a few people here who, professionals who are in insurance. And everyone needs to have insurance. You cannot, don't look away from it. The message is so important. And it's one of the best bangs for your money out there. Someone can buy life insurance. You can buy a 20-year life insurance policy. It could be $500 a year. It might be $5,000 a year. But you die and a check comes 3 weeks later to your loved one for $500,000 or $1 million. That takes you a long way to being able to keep your house and keep your mortgage going and pay for a funeral and have the chance that you need to not have a fire sale. People think I'm safe, I'm secure, I don't have to worry. I just wanted to bring up that point about insurance. Sure. But I do want to say, though, the Victims' Compensation Fund, for anyone who knows anyone who has tried to make a claim, any award you get, the Victims' Compensation Fund will look at you and say, you get $2 million. However, you had $2 million of life insurance, you get zero. But we're going to put it down that you got $2 million, but because we only put down the top line, we don't put down the bottom line. So I do want to see the insurance companies get together and lobby for that to be over, because it's the biggest anti-insurance push out there, because everyone says, I wish I didn't have life insurance. So I just wanted to say that.
We'll have to do a podcast on irrevocable life insurance trusts. That's coming up next, I think. So quick hits on 3 stocks people should look to buy. So 3 stocks, dump.
We have Deckers. Okay, I gave you Disney 95. It was down below. It was like around 800. It was around 80, but could easily be $110 to $150 in the next 2 years. You can't go wrong buying Disney. It's about as low as it can get. Yeah, and everyone, no matter what they do, what did you say, Terrence? They trip over themselves. They've just fallen on the sword, right? Over and over. They had to close down They had to close down their Star Wars hotel. But I'm telling you, Disney is a franchise not going away. And Bob Iger has been back. It's 12 months now. He's been back as CEO. He's going to make it work. There is a launch going out. ESPN Plus Bet, so they understand to go compete against DraftKings, which is, by the way, Investment Business Daily's #1 pick for a growth stock. So Disney knows what they're doing. They have the name, they have the franchise, and they have the pricing power. And pricing power is so important in this market out there. So we have Disney. Here's another one, VF. This is an undervalued stock. The ticker symbol is VFC. Now, why do I love VFC? $16.
It's not KFC, by the way, in case you're hungry yet.
It should be a $30 stock, and it will be one day. That's North Face.
V is in Victor.
V is in Victor. Okay, so it's your North Face, it's your Smart Wool, it's your companies now. And let me tell you, my son wears, because everyone does, they all wear these Montclair jackets. They're like $1,000, $1,500. I asked him yesterday, I said, you outgrew your jacket. What would you like for your birthday and Christmas? And I thought he'd say Montclair. And he said, no, you know what? I'll take a North Face. And he said it in a sense of, not even to me specifically, but he hears the buzz. He hears money's tight out there, and they've done the right commercializing. So a company like North Face, which was in and then went out when sort of high-end luxury and people had the credit cards to go buy a $1,500 jacket for a growing child, now suddenly we're back to practicality, and that's what you're going to get with VF.
Remind me to write Montclair on Teddy's jacket. I got it at Old Navy for $30. What would you sell right now? What would you dump?
I would be very...
What sector might it be in? Real estate?
Yeah,
green?
I would be really careful of the cloud software wannabe companies. Very careful. I'd be careful of companies like Zoom. Don't forget, like in about 48 hours, every school system, public school system in this country was able to go to Google Meets in 48 hours. We already have what we need and what works and what integrates well. So I would say you want to get out of that. Be careful of some of the, honestly, Tesla. I know now it's a stock. I called it in 2010. I called it at $17. $17 buy Tesla. But now there's too much weighing heavy on Tesla. There's too much competition coming. And that ESG part, he forgot to invest in his people. And they've been picked off by Mercedes. They've been picked off by Volkswagen. They've been picked off by all the Detroit automakers.
How about construction?
Well, the home builders I still like. Let's talk home builders I still like. You had asked me about Terrence. You had said Toll Brothers before. Of course, we have our local Hovnanian. I still love them because they're in a position to do deals and get people into homes at mortgages for less than they're going to get in a non-new construction environment.
How about food and agriculture?
Well, we're always going to need agriculture, and we're always going to need the ag companies out there. So you can stick with that. I even think in retail there's some players that are going to come back around. So there's still some good opportunities. I do want to say, I want to say eulogy to Rite Aid in Hazlitt in Airport Plaza. It used to be Genovese Drugs. When I was a little girl, I was like this big. It was Genovese Drugs. There is a woman who's losing her job on December 4th. She's been there 51 years. She's supposed to get 1 week of severance for every of the 51 years she's worked there, and they're going to try to give her 0. That's what they're trying to do.
Wow. Entertainment industry. You mentioned Disney.
Content is king. Okay, so content really is king, and we're learning that. We're learning that fast. There have been too many people in the industry. One of the reasons Disney stock went to $80 is because of exactly the problem, which is that there is so much content out there, and Disney put an awful lot into growing their subscription base, which didn't grow nearly as fast as it should have. Even they've had negative growth, if you want to put it in those terms, but there's still opportunity there. Netflix spent too much, and so content is king, but only if it's good content. So remember that.
And how about renewables? You have solar, geothermal, wind. You have the company going under right off the shore. If you scrape away the politics, solar technology hasn't changed a lot. Most of it's manufactured in China. The companies you like, other companies have gone bankrupt. Where do you see in the renewable side?
I say there's still opportunity in buying the Con Eds. ED is the ticker symbol. That's where the renewables are being put to use. The old Florida Power and Light, what is it now? NEE has some of the largest. So this is where we think that they're all new gadgets out there. There are companies out there that keep coming out with new technology to help the solar industry. However, because there's like Next Tracker, for example, that went public about 6 months ago, that helps the the solar farms turn towards the sun and grab more energy. There's, of course, the battery companies, which are getting better and better at reining in and holding the energy and putting it back into the grid. But you can't go wrong with traditional utilities, especially in places like Florida, in places like New York City.
We're going to open it up because we want to hear some stock. You may have some stocks that you want to ask about. I just want to let you know, Hilary has her thousands and thousands of subscribers. Her products include Game Changers, and don't forget to buy the book. Value Authority, High Octane Trader, Triple Digit Trader, 2-Day Trader, IPO Edge, and Inner Circle. Two quick things. One is, how do people reach you? How do they stay in touch with you? How do they follow you? If you can share that information.
Just Hilary Kramer, just hilarykramer.com. And that will take you to, I have my investment newsletters. I also have a free investment newsletter that I come out with every Friday, and in there I try to also bring crypto and cannabis and some of the hot new ideas to kind of give people a taste of what I think are the best opportunities there.
And if we're fortunate, we'll get a Mama Chamber promo code, but I'll have to talk offline about that, right? So, hey, let's open it up. Go ahead, if we can.
Hi, thank you so much for everything you're telling us today. I'm interested in knowing, is there any government fund right now that's giving a 6% tax-free interest on an annuity, a bond, so on?
Well, first of all, the 10-year U.S. Treasury yield is now at 4.4%. Right? Last month, it kept bumping up at 5%. Yeah. And we had those CDs, those 12-month CDs, especially those 9-month CDs that were at 5.5%. It's difficult to get that kind of return. However, and maybe perhaps someone knows about one that there is out there. But I would say I still do like the fact it's been a long time. Remember, investors were forced into the equity markets. The CD purchaser had to buy equities, and that's what fueled a lot of the market, okay, in the last 15 years. So we are lucky that you can put some of your money in CDs or find some exempt funds.
Local banks are giving you over 4%, and you don't have to lock your money up.
Yeah, they have. I was looking at Oceans First. It will give you 4.75 without locking up money. I mean, you might. So take advantage of it. Take advantage of it, because everyone will tell you about the greatest, newest, most wonderful idea, but they disappear when suddenly your stock is worth zero.
And what's your metric on cash reserves and keep financial stability, and what kind of the ratio the folks should be thinking about? They say 6 months, or is that a dartboard itself?
Cash. Just like content is king, cash is even more king. Cash, cash, cash. We are going to have rates cut. The Fed is going to come in and save the day, and they're going to cut rates, and the market's going to go flying up. But that's after what we talked about. There's capitulation. After the individual investor has thrown in the towel and sold at the bottom.
Any time frame estimate, or is that
I would say within the next 12 months, we're going to see the market come down, because the market's actually very expensive. It sells at 19 times next year's earnings, which on any traditional metric, it's expensive still. So we're due for a fall because the consumer doesn't have money. We're spending our money on paying off interest, and therefore all retail, car companies, everyone is going to suffer and struggle because of that.
Thank you. Jeannie? Yeah. Welcome.
Hey, my question is about large caps versus small caps. What are your thoughts on small caps? Everybody follows the large caps.
What a great question. Oh, my God. Well, as somebody who wrote the little book of big profits from small stocks, I can tell you that the Russell 2000, that's a great place to be. There are great small companies, and small stocks today are even companies that have $5 billion market caps and under. So I love those companies out there, and you have companies like Olin, OLN. It's already in the 40s right now, but it's your hydrochloric acids, it's your vinyls, epoxies, it's your ammunition. And you have companies like Valvoline. I mean, that's where you're going to find some real opportunity. So I love the question because that big Magnificent Seven, those big, huge mega cap stocks, well, as they go down, the fund managers are going to look for opportunity in those smaller companies that have market caps between, depending on their mandate, 1 billion, probably 5 billion, and 20 billion, and those are considered small stocks.
Thank you very much for that question. Jeannie, do you have a question from our next gen? Yes, awesome. Welcome to, by the way, round of applause for the high school students that are here. Please take good care of us later. You know, we need your help. Thank you. All right, your question. Welcome.
Do you have any favorite books or podcast recommendations for career growth and inspiration?
Monmouth Regional Chamber of Commerce. We meet once a month. Just kidding. Go ahead.
There's a great podcast of inspirational speeches by billionaires. I highly recommend you listen to that. Now, of course, those are billionaires that made it, and you're not going to get the full story, but boy, they're great. I just listened to a podcast last night, Conan O'Brien's 2011 commencement speech. There's actually a podcast called Dartmouth Commencement Speeches, and that was incredibly inspirational. I think that's one that you absolutely need to listen to. It was one of the most brilliant ever. And in terms of books, Malcolm Gladwell, read Malcolm Gladwell. What you will find from Malcolm Gladwell, who's really a sociologist, it will take you very far in this world. He is a resource that you can buy for just a few dollars and turn yourself into a millionaire because he sees society and points out what people don't know. I'll just give you one quick example, I know, because we want to get on to other questions, but Malcolm Gladwell makes this great point in one of his earlier books. Actually, it was his 2010 book, but it changed the way parents put their children through school. He found out that most NHL players, or this like large percentage of NHL players, were born in November. And that was because they were the oldest in their class. And so they were the biggest. So they had the most kind of priority and a head start, and then that builds not just confidence but skills because they get opportunities to build skills. That's the wisdom you're gonna get. Malcolm Gladwell has as a great podcast, and his books are great.
Thank you.
Hi, do you think DTCC's transition to tokenized assets on chain will affect American equity markets, or do you think that's just going to be a technology that's implemented in the background and won't really affect anything in a measurable way?
I actually sit on the board of a crypto digital company that has a registration here in the United States, one of the few. And what I can tell you is that there's always going to be pushback for crypto to crypto. Crypto is a major source, is a major issue. It's hard to get into the details why it would be. We could meet about crypto and talk about it for hours, but just keep in mind that you have the big bank lobby that wants to protect dollars, euros, yen, remnies. Okay, so just keep that in mind as you go on, and remember what I said earlier about the like the pharmaceutical robot. You know, like trash in, trash out. Okay, so just because you're on a blockchain and everyone gets to see what everyone's done, so there's total transparency, that also means you can put whatever you want on there. That doesn't mean that it's been verified.
When I took the Series 7, I'd say the answer is C. Thank you for the question.
Yes, hi. What is your outlook for 2024 and 2025? And do you think the bull market will continue in 2024, or because it's election year? What's your take on that?
So as I alluded to, I expect to see a big
and moving into 2025 as we go past the election year.
I see a big drawdown in the market, meaning we're going to see a big correction in the stock market, and then we'll come back just like we always do. Remember, we come back each time stronger than ever. Every time we think it's over, every time we think that we're never going to see downtown Manhattan rebuilt, every time we think that we're never going to be out in the public again and we're never going to be sitting at restaurants, we end up doing it, and the same will happen here. But remember, there's going to be blood in the streets before we see the upswing. So have your cash. Have your cash set aside. Get ready. Remember, we're in a cruel world, the business world, right?
Quick related question, gold, silver.
I always say there's a place in everyone's portfolio for a little gold, a little, maybe not, silver has utility. There's always a place for it. I'm not a gold bug, though. I mean, I don't think we're going to live in caves and need to have gold, but I have great respect for those gold people out there.
When you think back to yourself, did you envision your career as it is today?
No, I didn't. You just have to keep moving. Keep moving forward. Keep taking opportunities. Don't think that you have to make the big decisions and what your life is going to be right now. No, just keep your eyes open and keep putting one foot in front of the other. That's when you stall out, is when you stop.
Very well said. Thank you so much for that awesome question. Jeannie?
I think any other questions? You have another one? Okay.
Can you just give us your take on ETFs and index funds?
Obviously, the world loves ETFs, exchange-traded funds. I still think that if you can put together a portfolio, either with an advisor, a wealth advisor who knows what they're doing and has some good insight, along with yourself, 17 good stocks. Make sure half of them have dividend yields that have been around and have never, because remember, you want companies, it's a kiss of death if a dividend yield is 12%, but if you see a good 4 or 5% dividend yield, 2.8% dividend yield, I think you do better with individual stocks. And let me explain why. In ETFs, there's hidden fees. They can take money out of them. However, not everyone is in a position to just be able to pick stocks and buy stocks. So that's why ETFs have their place, and they do mirror the market, and the market ultimately always does go up. But do keep that in mind.
I have a two-part question. I think we live in a society where people like to do things themselves. You go on YouTube and see how to change a filter. You have these things, and balancing managing money professionally and doing it yourself, especially the generations that are coming up. They love and they distrust a lot of things in terms of other people in society and the too big to fail stories. The balance that you find, where do you think that's going? Where's the puck going there? Because there's a lot of, we had robo-advisor, scares a couple of years ago, and that sort of
look what happened to Robinhood.
Right.
Okay, whereas individual wealth managers are still around.
But it gets exciting, and then it finds reality, right? That's how most innovation happens. Where is that puck going? Because that balance is a very interesting thing in terms of getting people in the business, getting people to have that certain level of trust post-Madoff and all those things that have happened, specifically the Wall Street movies and the reputation that we've been able to amass over these last couple of years. This next generation trusts nobody. This is the blockchain crypto. Don't trust the government with your US dollar. Trust the blockchain.
Yeah, right, so exactly.
That's basically what crypto is.
Until their crypto disappears. They open up their electronic wallet and the crypto's
so that's
gone.
the first question. Second question is GLP stocks, right? Novo and Eli Lilly are obviously a generation of life-changing drugs from a health perspective, which is a very important thing, I think, for America to get healthier, right? So where is that going? So those are my two-part questions.
Okay, let me start with Novo Nordisk, NVO, the largest, if anyone knows NVO, Novo Nordisk. As expensive as it is, it's only going to become a bigger company. They really are the leader in diabetes. Sanofi French company is behind them, and it just has never gotten any traction in the last 20 years. But a great company with a great dividend yield. So big pharma is going to do well. And we're around. We have chronic diseases, and they can be kept in check for decades with the right medications. Of course, there's always the pushback from the government, which is to keep those costs in check and to try to push those costs back down, to push them back down. So I'd say that would be the answer to that. Your bigger question, which is on how do you get people to trust the portfolio manager, the wealth manager, the financial planner. I pick stocks. Hey, and I tell everyone that I'm not a portfolio allocator. I am not an insurance person. I am not telling you how to watch your generational wealth. And just like we go to therapists, and our therapists may not on their personal level be like all there, but they can still actually help us make it and become better people. And it's the same with our money. Our wealth manager, our financial planner can give us information that we need and we need to hear. We don't solve our problems by ourselves. We shouldn't figure out our money by ourselves.
Very, very well said. And in a moment, I'm going to ask, Hilary's going to ask, for those who stayed a little later, thank you, because she's going to answer the question I love to ask all our guests, which is, what's the next big thing? And you're going to answer that question in a moment. To the point of Novo and other companies that are involved in the life sciences, 11,000 reasons that are, their piano player to the stars would know. There are 11,000 people in this country turning 65 every single day. So if that doesn't speak to healthcare and medicine in that way, I'm not quite sure what does. You're 62, I think, right? This man, he is our Renaissance man. Thank you so much. You're always so wonderful. Was there a last question? Because
any other questions?
Because what I'd like to do is, first of all, thank everyone for being here today. Your presence is so important. Make sure you pick up a copy of Game Changer Investing. This is how to profit from tomorrow's billion-dollar trends. And that picks up where we left off and goes into so many different sectors and so many different areas that can't possibly be captured in one podcast. So can you share with us, and what's the next big thing for you, or the next big thing that you see out there as we close our meeting this morning?
The next big thing is having the cash to swoop in when we have that market downturn, when that recession does hit. That's the next big thing. Though that's the next big wealth creator, are those of you that have the money for the stocks and for the real estate and to allocate into generational areas such as life insurance and purchasing for your children.
Thank you so much. Hilary Kramer, hilarykramer.com. Game Changer Investing. Thank you, everyone, for being here this morning, and thank you to the Monmouth Regional Chamber of Commerce. Always a wonderful pleasure
Thank
for
you
everyone
so
to be
much.
together.
It was
Thank
just
you,
great
Therese.
being here.
Thanks, Trey.
A pleasure to be here. By the way, this is a thrill. This was Bell Labs where no one got to walk. This was, right? This is amazing that we have this here, and what a resource, and what for Homedale. It's just really wonderful.
It's really wonderful. And look for my book. It's coming out this winter. It's called Yes, Honey. Okay? Very, very popular. Very popular. Thank you very much, everyone.
And
Have
the
a
next
great day.
meeting, the next Chambercast is December 12th,
Yeah.
here, same place, same time.
That's right.
So, and the Monmouth Regional Chamber of Commerce has so many amazing events every month. So if you're not a member of the Monmouth Regional Chamber of Commerce, talk to Therese and join. It'll change your life, really.
Yeah. The chamber is really
and the
often
weekly percolator, that's right.
It's really like ripples in the pond. We find the networking is incredible, such a wide variety of different businesses, and so you never quite know what you're going to get, like a box of chocolates. So Hilary, thank you so much. It's really so great to meet you and talk to you and to share this tremendous information with everybody. Want to wish everyone a happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, and a fantastic New Year. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Let's try to get a group photo. Back there.
Yeah,
Thanks.
if you don't mind, come on back. We'll take a quick picture.